if anybody told you back in 2012 that you're going to be India's popcorn king, would you have believed them?
When we started, right, people सोचते थे कि आप 1 करोड़ का पॉपकॉर्न बेच लोगे, बहुत बड़ी बात है. फिर 5 करोड़ का टारगेट बना, फिर 10 करोड़ का टारगेट बना.
हमारे कंटेंट को वायरल कर दो, एक बार हमारा कंटेंट वायरल हो जाएगा तो हमारा ब्रांड चल जाएगा, सेल्स आ जाएंगी.
lot of people wants to grow their businesses too soon, too fast.
Work-life balance is a myth and you have to keep hustling.
As a brand, we were present in all Ambani's functions. We always thought कि हम gourmet रहेंगे.
The segment 2 of the game is never have I ever.
क्या कर रहे हो, क्यों कर रहे हो, क्यों इतनी वाट लगवा रहे हो अपनी.
Today we have with us India's popcorn king, Mr Chirag Gupta, a trailblazer who turned a humble snack into a gourmet experience. The founder of 4700 BC, a visionary entrepreneur and a marathon runner. His journey truly is a testament to innovation, to resilience and to making every kernel count. Welcome Chirag sir to Let's Talk Biz with Shubhagata. Thank you so much for gracing our first episode with your dynamic presence. It means a lot to us and you're very, very welcome.
Thank you for thinking of me.
Of course sir, we all think of you. You've done something magnificent with 4700 BC. And in fact, this actually leads me to the first question, which is that if anybody told you back in 2012 that you're going to be India's popcorn king, would you have believed them?
I think every entrepreneur starts with a thing कि कुछ करना है, right? I think we also started with that fact कि let's do something. When we started, right, people सोचते थे कि आप 1 करोड़ का पॉपकॉर्न बेच लोगे, बहुत बड़ी बात है. फिर 5 करोड़ का टारगेट बना, फिर 10 करोड़ का टारगेट बना. So that's how the target kept going up and up. But I think if somebody would have told that we would have sold X number of popcorn, what we are selling today, way 10 years back, we would have said कि okay, इतना बेच लेंगे, बहुत बड़ी बात है.
And now when we go to the malls, the best popcorn 4700 BC, cinema, even the airlines. And for me, actually, the funny story is there's this one hospital that sometimes I go to for my appointment. And it's almost like a regular for me कि अपने appointment के बाद ज़रूर 4700 BC की, it's like a guilty pleasure.
Really?
So this has been one popcorn जब से आया है तब से यही खाया है सिर्फ. But one more question here is that जब आपने ये start करा तो it's a very daring decision to introduce a popcorn which is priced at how 4700 BC is priced, because usually उस time सोचते थे लोग कि हम मासी product start करते हैं, उसको gourmet line में करना. Did you have doubts back then?
When we started, our idea was to do something new and different. So we started from the top of the end. And that time we didn't have knowledge of saying कि मासी product करना है, volume कहाँ पे. We didn't have any industry and expertise. So in India, snacking is a market which largely operates from 5, 10, 20 to 50 rupees is the maximum upper limit, right?
Correct.
We started with 100 rupees, 150 rupees product. Slowly we came down. And now we realize 50 is a good price point for a 47 BC kind of a brand, which is little premiumly positioned and giving a more value-added product to a customer. So I think maybe tomorrow you will see a 20-30 rupees pack. But if you compare us with a 20 rupees brand, we might be less in grammage, but we will be giving more in value.
Got it. Yeah.
Right? So I think it's a very fortunate thing we got that opportunity to start from the top. I always say in India, it's easy to come from top to bottom than bottom up. So for a Parle G to now sell a 50 rupees biscuit is very difficult.
People won't be able to accept that.
Right? But for us, 47 BC to slowly from 50 to 40 to 30, 20, maybe it's still possible as a journey. But I think that's I would say we're lucky
now
to
the price change is a treat for everybody. They're very happy to see that price drop.
So I think we are able to reach more consumers with the price drop. That's the whole game.
Absolutely. So this one question, अब इसका थोड़ा buzz die down हो गया है. I think you already know what I'm going to ask you. Is the 18% GST जो popcorn पे लगा था? Everybody was talking about it.
In India, right? Even after GST being 7 years in this country, there's not too much clarity on some of these taxes, right? And everybody has their own interpretation of what the tax would be, right? So I think that's one of the things which has happened good for the industry, at least for the popcorn industry. There's a clarification. So at least we know in future there is nobody gonna come back and say कि तुम ये नमकीन पे 12 का 18 क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं, something like this, right? So imagine it took 7 years for them to clarify what should be the GST for a popcorn.
Yes.
If we grow and we realize there is some tax penalty which can come to us 5 years down the line, in that fear, that's a very risky business for everybody, right? Good for the government to come out and clarify things. they've done it for the popcorn category, so that's the one reason I'm happy about कि at least clarification है. If you go to a lot of these countries outside India, the tax slabs are very simple.
Correct.
I think the tax slabs in India are still little complicated. There are 4 different taxes, which I understand. There's a reason behind for the government to do it, but I think there's a lot of complexity still in the ecosystem. The reason why it blew up on social media is because around the complexity and not because caramel versus us. I think everybody think why popcorn needs 2 taxes.
Correct.
Right? That was the whole viewpoint.
Correct.
Right?
I saw that one post that had gone live on 4700 BC that said that, okay, not 18% GST, 18% discount.
So I think we have to, it's a movement marketing, right? So
that was so good. I saw that. That was amazing.
So idea was to, how do we, have more eyeballs to the same issue right now? How do we correlate? So I think that's great, goes to our marketing team.
Yeah, I'm sure. Absolutely. And I think with 4700 BC collaborating with Netflix, the recent collaboration that you had, did you ever think कि Netflix देखते हुए और अपना popcorn खाते हुए कि ये मेरा collaboration है और ये मेरा popcorn है?
No, I think so. I think it was a very dreamy collaboration, right? In the sense कि यार Netflix से पीछे पड़ते हैं, Netflix से कुछ करते हैं, Netflix से करते हैं, right? And I think we've been chasing them since COVID.
Okay.
Right? So almost 4-5 years now, right? And we've been telling them कि, hey, we are popcorn brand, you are an entertainment OTT platform. There's
It's
definitely
a match made in heaven.
There's a match made in heaven, right? Cinemas, we have kind of already made indoors with a partnership with PVR. I think OTT, we wanted to capture that thing, and who best to do it with Netflix in India. So at least we set the example right.
Absolutely.
And it's a long partnership, so we'll continue to do multiple things under this partnership.
Okay,
right?
very
So,
interesting.
right.
The term binge watching, I think, started with Netflix. So there needs to be something to binge watch. So now we have 4700
I
BC
think
for that.
there's a lot of content around this thing, right? Popcorn, movies, Netflix, right? There's so much content around this.
Correct. And collaborations is the way to go now. I think
I
brands joining hands is what people want to see today.
No, agree, because it's a very smart way of acquiring each other's customers. We collaborated with Carlsberg in the past, right? So anybody who's drinking cocktails, mocktails can come to 47BC, vice versa. We're trying to do with some restaurants, chains in India. We will make more use cases of when to consume the product. Consume the product. So I think it's a very organic, or I'm saying smart way to grow the brand.
Because with users and consumers today, there's so much option that you need to keep reminding them that you have us with this. And this is how you use the product in your life.
I think with so much content now, I think people forget brands very fast, right? So you need to be on their
constant reminders.
So I think if you go in airlines, you see 47BC, you go in retail, you see 47BC, you go to a restaurant, see 47BC, that's how the brand will grow.
Absolutely. You mentioned PVR collaboration.
Right.
So हमने हमेशा elevator pitch जो है courses में पढ़ा है, and I read about this on your website. This was an elevator pitch for you with Mr. Ajay, right?
So it was an escalator pitch, I will say, right?
Escalator pitch, amazing.
So what happened, actually, we were trying to open kiosks in the malls, right? So I went to Hyderabad to pitch to our mall owner to give us some space in the mall, right? And I think Ajay Bijli happens to be there at the same time, and he was visiting to see how the cinema is coming up. And we were talking to PVR for, I think, for the past 6-8 months before that. So we were continuously pitching. So, I thought I'll just run into him. So he was surrounded with a lot of people, but I just ran into him and saying, I'm sure you must have heard of our brand name, and we believe there's a great value add we can bring to the ecosystem, right? And I think from that ground level till 3rd floor, we just walked together, right? And he just listened to me, whatever the blah, 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 right? And I think he saw something with us, which he said, okay, let's do a Diwali gifting with you guys. Let's send it to all the people they know. Right, so they did a small experiment with us where they sent our gifting products to all their investors, friends and family, and probably they would have got a lot of good feedback about the product and the brand, and that's where he came in and said, "Okay, we want to invest in the company."
How was that day for you?
To think that we can do something in popcorn as a category was very hindsight, right? To have PVR as an account was a big thing, right? And that time, nobody thought the category could become so big, right? So everybody's vision, including ours, was very limited to popcorns, cinemas, all these kind of consumptions. But now we've become more of an FMCG brand.
So when we look back, the first 6 months of having started the brand, I think you keep second guessing if you're, doing the right thing, and what are the first few steps. So what do you have to say about that? Like, and how were the first 6 months for you?
I think my simple advice to everybody is believe in what you started. So until I believe that we can take it from here to 500 crores or 1,000 crores, what I'm doing today doesn't make sense.
Correct.
Right? Like for us in 2013, the consumer funding market was not what it is today.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? For us to even say to somebody that come and invest in a popcorn brand was a very, different story.
Now there's so many investors open to working with small businesses.
Correct. And that's why PVR coming and investing at that time made so much sense for us also. Right, but today I think more than funding or anything, people should believe in their product.
Correct.
A lot of people wants to grow their businesses too soon, too fast. Everybody gets influenced by what has happened to 1 out of 100 companies.
Correct.
Right.
And they start following that path without even looking left or right or seeing if it makes sense for them.
Correct. So 99 companies still do slow and steady, but people start chasing that one particular brand which have grown exponentially. Until we have proved that we can exist in cinemas, coexist with the butter popcorn as a gourmet popcorn as a category, it's very difficult for me to go and pitch to other cinema chains outside the world, India, to say कि आप भी करो ऐसा कुछ, right? So I think solving use cases is very important. What you started the whole organization for. And don't get distracted from things happening around.
Yes. Like you said, we need to be focused, we need to walk towards that vision, but at the same time, how you mentioned that at that time, 10 years ago, probably your vision was not where you've achieved.
Correct.
So sometimes our vision only starts limiting us because of where we see as the end point.
Correct. And your vision should move forward.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
One thing that you mentioned was that a lot of brands these days especially are looking for a shortcut. कि जल्दी से grow कर जाते हैं बस. उसमें being from the social media space, those are requests that we see every day कि हमारे content को viral कर दो, एक बार हमारा content viral हो जाएगा तो हमारा brand चल जाएगा, sales आ जाएंगी. And surprisingly so, that's a case that we've seen also with a lot of brands. Now we don't know how sustainable that is for them. It has been so that आप एक बार customer के eyes में बार बार आ रहे हो through viral content, through probably content that's probably not even very related to what you're doing, but it's still helping you get the audience. So do you think this is something that brands should consider and continue doing?
I mean, it depends from brand to brand, product to product, or company to company. But I think one thing which I always believe, if you're doing something marketing-wise, you should be able to do something sustainably.
Yes.
Right? So consistently over the month and month, year on year. Because today marketing, today content creation is so much happening, right? What happens 2 weeks before, people forget.
Correct.
Right? So if you say कि मैंने एक बार viral कर दिया, एक बार sale हो गई, I think it would work for some period, but it might lose after a few months. You should not spend all your money in one go and then not be able to save for further.
It's also very important to be relevant and to have a story, because at the end of the day, now I don't think people invest into brands only for the product, but also for everything that the brand.
No, you need to connect with the consumer, as simple as that. So if your brand doesn't have a story to connect with the consumer, you might spend a crazy amount of money, but ultimately customers will not remember you, right?
I think all the advertisements also and the collaborations that you worked on, the recent one with Karan Johar as well, I think it's all very memorable. It's something that you'd remember after closing the YouTube or the TV as well. No, definitely. I think that cuts through the noise, because there's so much happening, like you mentioned again, so much content to consume, that it's just something that should stick with you after that. Besides that, I see that, I mean, on your page I read about you, and I learned that you are also a marathon runner, you hike, you do so many different things. It's very, very inspiring. I personally feel that I don't have the bandwidth to take care of anything mentally or physically outside of, my startup and what I have to do towards that. So is it so that in the initial few, let's say, years, work-life balance is a myth and you have to keep hustling?
I think for the first 7 years of our startup, my startup also, I think I didn't do any of these things which is now I'm doing. What I've realized once I started doing it, it actually doesn't affect your work, it has actually increased your work productivity, right?
Okay. Yes.
So if it just have you have to take out time from your schedules.
बहाने देते हैं हम अपने आप को कि ना करना पड़े, but there always is time.
And I think अब कितना भी कर लो, I think ultimately ना एक person works the same amount of hours which he can do maximum.
Correct.
Right? I think once you start doing it, you get into that zone, and I think it helps. So now
Yeah.
when I'm running, actually most of the good ideas are
Ideas
coming
come to you.
when I'm running, because that's my zone period.
Yes.
Once you have too many things on your mind, you need that me time, whether it comes from meditation, whether it comes from a yoga, whether it comes from a
Everybody
marathon.
has their different ways of
Doing.
decluttering your mind and the
Correct.
ideas
Some
and
people
seeing what
even
needs
do
to be.
parties to do
Yeah,
that
yeah,
decluttering, but
yeah.
I think whatever works for you.
Yes,
Right? But
absolutely.
you need that non-work period to relax and think.
Manji. I think one more thing to ask you here is that वैसे तो I mean popcorn मैंने जो देखा था अपने नानी और अपने नाना के ज़माने में, popcorn used to be a snack that they used to make at home and consume. उसके बाद धीरे से probably because of the spices and the butter and all the extra fat that we're putting in it, it's relatively now not seen as the most healthiest option available in the market. So because you're somebody who's into fitness, do you consume your product often?
I do. I think I keep saying this. We are the biggest consumer of our product because
Okay.
ultimately we are the one who's tasting the product. When you do tasting, you consume so much of the product, right? Whenever I go to a client meeting and I have to make them taste the product, I've tried the first product myself just to
Yes.
make sure everything is fine.
Yeah.
So I think we consume it more than
Yes.
anybody else.
Yeah.
But I think, so good thing about popcorn or a snack,
Yes.
right? So if I talk of popcorn as a category right now, the good thing about popcorn is a very neutral product.
Okay.
Right? People don't have a very too much negative connotation with it, also and too much positive connotation to it.
Correct.
It's there, right? People have been consuming for ages, right?
Correct.
Thanks to cinema,
Yes.
thanks to ready walas in this
Yes.
country, people have been consuming it. So nobody has a negative connotation. Nobody says कि ये old age के लोग नहीं खा सकते या बच्चे नहीं खा सकते.
बिल्कुल.
The person of every age consumes popcorn. So that piece of marketing is something we never had to do it, right? And if people are not asking for it, why should I say it explicitly also?
Yeah.
So I don't want it to call it this is a healthy product or unhealthy
Yes.
product. We just keep it stable, like constant, like an understood thing, right?
A household snack. That's
Household
how it's
snack.
been.
Right. It's an indulgence.
Yes.
Every snack is an indulgence these
Correct.
days, right?
That is true.
So I think that's how it is positioned automatically.
Yes.
So we don't have to emphasize over it. I think India as a market right now is a very relative market.
Yeah.
So because till now we were not very conscious. So we've been consuming products which are very massy
Yeah.
or which are marketed very heavily, right? So we've been consuming Lay's because it's been marketed so heavily, right? But is Lay's a good product? Probably no, because it's fried, it's potato, it's palm oil, all those things, right? But we consume it because it got marketed. So what we need is a more healthier product or relatively a better product, right? So that relativeness can come from people selling a story of a non-palm oil product. Relativeness can come from people saying कि ये fried नहीं है, baked है या कुछ और technology है. So I think that's what consumers are looking for.
Correct.
Right?
And that's the game that all the brands are also playing now.
Yeah,
because
because
there is a demand for it.
Yeah, because people who is eating a 20 rupees product will not ship to 100 rupees
Bilkul.
product.
Correct.
Right? They can only ship from 20 to a 25 rupees product and saying कि चलो मुझे थोड़ा सा better खिला दो.
बिल्कुल.
Right? But they don't have pockets to say कि आज 20 का ही 100 कर दो मुझे. Right? So that pocket size of that consumer is very small in India. Right? So I think that's where I think we just have to focus to have a relatively better product. What you promise is what you deliver.
Correct.
Kind of a
Very
thing. You don't over-promise, don't
Yes.
over-deliver.
Correct.
Right? Or under-deliver. But just what you promise, deliver it properly.
Yes.
Right? So that's what our funda is कि वो जो भी है बता दो. Right? Let consumer make that decision कि what they want to have, what they don't have to
Absolutely.
have.
Agreed.
And there, India being such a large country, they all time are consumers,
Yeah.
right? There are people who consciously know this product is not good for them, they still eat, right?
I think as a brand, it's very important to stay true to that because
Correct.
that's the only way your consumers are also going to stick around because now the consumer has become very
So
smart.
conscious,
Very smart, very conscious.
Yeah.
So that needs to be there.
Correct.
Yeah. So besides 4700 BC, is there any brand and like upcoming brand on your radar that you see that okay, ये brand कुछ बड़ा करेगा?
If you ask me pre-COVID, digitalization हुआ नहीं था, distribution was a very tough thing. People were traveling now more than they're traveling ever, so they're looking at newer products, right? Gen Z, what we're calling today, is they are the one who are trying more products, right? Spending power has increased many folds in the last 5-6 years only. So a lot of these changes are happening now, and I think this is the best time for any consumer brand to come up and be the next Haldirams or less Lays or ITCs of this country, right? So if somebody goes through this next 4-5 years of phases very well, I think they could become big. To answer your question, there's a kids focused brand, Sluff Farm, which does very well, right? Very promising, nice branding, nice packaging, good products. They're doing well.
Very strong story. Founders come forward, talk about their story. They humanize the brand very well.
Correct. So those are their brands like Chayos who are doing good consistently. They're doing good. So they're creating the tea culture of India, right?
Yeah. With performance marketing, like you mentioned, now the people who are seen more, who are spending more in marketing, they're able to at least take the lead temporarily, at least.
Temporarily, and people talk about them right now because what they see is people is talking about, right? But that doesn't mean the others are not doing good.
Yes.
It's just that they are at a different phase where they have more money, they want to grow faster. But their brands are doing small and steady kind of a growth also, and they're also doing good.
I think to see results from any course that you decide to take on, one has to be a little consistent in it to be able to see if it's working for them or not. Small businesses, and understandably, because they have a smaller runway, and they need to manage their funds better, very quick to leave things and drop things. Like I said, understandably, but I think this is a good takeaway from this conversation, that consistency is there. So we need to plan that ahead.
I think we should know how much budget we have for marketing, do it consistently. I mean, Maggie has been doing the same thing again and again for so many years. When they came to this country, they went to every school and did marketing. Then they did it for like 5 years, 10 years. They're still doing it in tier 2. So I think that's something we have to do consistently to build the brand. Understand what is your good area, what is the strong area, and just focus on building it.
Agreed. If I were to ask you any 3 or 5 qualities that you'd see in someone and be like, at least in the space of entrepreneurship, these are the qualities that you'd feel that somebody can make it big with.
So I think one is obviously stay grounded. Right? So a lot of people lose their focus. Right? So a lot of those things happen. I think I've seen a lot of people who have more short-term vision than a long-term vision. Right? So somebody having a long-term vision is very important. So if some other brand is doing good, should I think about doing the same thing in 47 BC कि मैं भी ये launch कर देता हूँ? Maybe in short term it might give me a jump, but maybe in long term it just distract me from what I'm doing. I think one of the key things also which people need to focus now, which is a very difficult task, is building a good team, right? Which is getting very critical, right? So earlier HUL, if you see, right, built people who work 15-20 years with them through the organization. It's very difficult to build a team these days who can
Everybody is very quick to switch.
हाँ मतलब 2-3 साल भी रुक जाए तो बहुत बड़ी बात होती है, right? So I think that's where we need to get better and better, right? So we are also trying to make sure there should be a reason for people to stay with us, right? So how do we do that? Maybe we haven't cracked that very well, but I'm saying that's something we need to crack as we grow. So I think every founder is good in some areas, right? So some people might be very good in managing teams. Some people might be very good in doing marketing. I think no brand or no founder can do everything properly, 100%, right? So I think just sticking to the task, stay grounded, don't lose focus, have a longer term vision than a short term vision. Those are the key things.
Correct.
Somebody will cover.
A few things that we see now that I think this was something that I also noticed with myself as well, that I was initially looking at doing everything on my own. I was like, I'm going to be this one-man army. But वो बहुत जल्दी realize हो जाता है that play to your strengths, delegate so that you can focus on the vision of the company and get people who are good at what they're doing and listen to them.
I've realized I'm a good sales guy than a management guy. I want to build a team so that I can do more sales for the company than managing all those people, right?
And I think as a founder, there is something that you learn about yourself also every day through the process of running a business.
Right.
So to honor that, what we've learned and to be able to execute it.
You're able to, I mean, I've run this for decent years now to understand what I'm good at and what I'm not good at, right? Initial years, you don't have that idea. But if you keep doing the same stuff for so many years, now you realize what are you good at and what are you not. And instead of focusing on correcting yourself where you're wrong, it's better you focus more on what you're good at.
One common challenge that I see when I am working with businesses in the space of consultancy is that a lot of times I personally feel that there is a requirement to pivot. And I feel that pivoting at that point is going to be more beneficial for a business rather than having that, one track focus and continuing doing what they're doing, because somewhere the customer feedback has not been sufficient, the marketing research has not been sufficient, and the product market sort of fit is not there. So, how you mentioned that it's very easy to get distracted, that okay, market mein ye bhi ho raha hai, wo bhi ho raha hai. So I sometimes wonder if it's a premature decision on my end to recommend to somebody that pivoting is the way to go. Like,
again, there is no right answer to this,
Yeah.
right? But so we also come across a new product suddenly and we say कि यार India में किसी ने नहीं किया, let's launch it under 47 BC. So you would call it as a business sense or a pivoting or what, depends, right? But your larger vision and mission
Yes.
should not get distracted because of one distraction.
Correct.
So if your vision is to build a little value premium brand, right, where you deliver to a consumer something better, would you say कि आज इंडिया में लेस बहुत चल रहा है, मैं लेस लॉन्च कर दूं? Probably no. Somewhere we have to stay focused,
Correct.
right?
Whims पे act नहीं करना. Like one day you wake up and decide to do that. I think they need to be calculated
Correct.
decisions.
It should fit into your larger story in the
Absolutely.
end, right? So if you're able to say कि सर मैंने लेस इसलिए लॉन्च किया है because it fits into my story, this is my story, so then you can do this.
Correct.
There should be one consistent promise to the customer how customer would look at 47 BC, right? That should not get distracted. So so you like you like our chocolate popcorn? Can we deliver more in that same space? There's a story, right? But should I get into a beverage category? Probably not.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. Makes sense. So now we'll move to our games section. This is going to be very exciting. I've been waiting for this section all evening. So in this game, sir, hypothetically, Artemidi and Let's Talk Biz takes over 4700 BC for one day. Now we come up with ideas कि अगर हम एक दिन 4700 BC को take over करेंगे तो क्या क्या products हम launch करेंगे.
Okay.
Now being the the owner of the empire and the founder of the empire, you need to tell us कि idea pop है कि flop है.
Okay.
And please be honest with us. We won't mind the flop also.
Sure.
And अगर idea pop है तो we'll have a popcorn, and अगर flop है तो मैं फिर बाद में popcorn खा लूँगी.
Okay.
Please help yourself with the flavor you like.
Sure.
Okay, let's try this one. So the first thing that we launch is a glow-in-the-dark popcorn for nightclubs and cinemas.
It's a pop idea if you think from a marketing angle.
Okay, makes sense. But from a product angle, it's probably a whole mess to get this through. Makes sense. Okay.
So you can have your pop.
Yes. Okay. Chalo.
Okay.
Cheese popcorn, Hawaiian barbecue. Oh, very nice. Popcorn designed specially for pets.
I think may not work because there's a lot of choking which can happen, a lot of those kind of things can also happen. So I don't know. I don't have too much knowledge about that industry right now.
No, but that makes a lot of sense.
So maybe may not work so well.
Work. Yeah. Popcorn paired with specialty coffee or wine for a gourmet tasting experience.
100%.
Yeah.
Something we are working on also.
Oh, wow. Right. Good to know. Popcorn bars for weddings and events with customizable flavors.
So we already have a model where we do a popcorn bar kind of a setup for weddings and birthday parties now. As a brand, we were present in all Ambani's functions. We were present in a lot of celebrity functions also.
Wish I was at one of those weddings. I would have known.
Everybody wish to be in those weddings. Right?
Instant popcorn making machines for personal use or offices.
I think people are kind of going away from
having to do all of this on their own. It's easier to Blinkit it.
Blinkit, right? So
I was so annoyed, sir. Yesterday, Blinkit was not working because of the rains.
Okay, yeah.
And I had to get the 4700 BC canisters.
Yeah.
And I realized the level of dependency that we get into with these conveniences is actually inane. That because at least a 24-hour wait was something which was very normal. Yeah. But quickly that changed to 10 minutes.
Yeah. So if you can't wait for 10 minutes, then why would you wait another 10 minutes to consume the product and make the product?
Not going to happen. Yeah.
So I think the trend will with quick commerce will also go away a little bit.
Correct.
Right?
And a collab with a fitness brand to launch a low-calorie and high-protein popcorn. I've seen the makhana on the page. Yeah, that I've seen.
So I think popcorn you can't.
क्या करोगे यार?
हाँ मतलब what it is, right?
Correct.
Whatever nutritional values it has. So a lot of people don't know, but popcorn is a good source of protein, right? So as a product, it has 7% protein, right? Makhanas have 9%, 10% protein. So it's not too much different from a makhana also, which whereas makhana has been seen as a superfood, popcorn is not seen as a superfood. It's just how marketing been done around certain products. Because see, again, the problem is when you're consuming a snack, there's an upper limit of how much you want to spend on a snack. So would people spend on a snacking product? So again, it's a thing we can debate.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
A snack is always a guilty pleasure to an extent.
Correct.
That's why it's a snack.
Correct. So if we see there's a market where people are ready to spend 60, 70 rupees on a protein added popcorn, we can look at it. Right.
Very interesting. Okay, very interesting. The segment 2 of the game is Never Have I Ever. And you eat a popcorn if you have. Okay. So, regretted launching a product.
A lot of them.
I wonder which ones.
No, I think there are some regrets which we are trying to fulfill now. There are some regrets which we said we should have done it earlier. But yeah, a lot of products.
Okay, very interesting. Pulled an all-nighter for a pitch or a launch in your, of course, previous days.
No. So I think we've done this a lot. I think I'm coming from a consulting background where we used to do this a lot.
Yeah.
Right. So we had audits coming next day. So we have to pull the whole night to get the audits done. So there are days like this. So I think it comes whether you are a student, whether you are
that's always
in a corporate or in a startup. I think it happens everywhere. So I think that's part it comes across.
Lovely. Change something in your product because of customer feedback.
A lot of feedback which we get, right? So sometimes we realize that consumers can only eat gourmet popcorn, over a period of time, but not regularly.
Yeah.
So that's something we learned from a customer feedback. So somebody said ki we can't eat it every day. So that's why we got into the massy categories like butter popcorns, cheese popcorn, which people can eat more regularly. We always thought कि हम gourmet रहेंगे. Then we realized कि नहीं यार customer regularly खा ही नहीं पा रहा, so there is no point saying gourmet, but this brand can have a normal range also. But we experiment with a new product which we recently launched, which is popped in ghee.
Oh wow!
Right, so again, ghee has a good perception in the consumer mindset. So we said let's take it a level up, and let's see if the consumer is ready to pay for that ghee, right? Because ghee is an expensive product compared to an oil.
Makes sense.
So we keep doing all these experiments.
A lot of things in the pipeline, though. Very exciting.
A lot of things.
Okay, send free popcorn to a celebrity for a shout out.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's difficult to get their addresses at times, but I think wherever we could catch some addresses or something, I think we have sent it.
I'll be happy to collaborate with you on this, definitely.
I think we got with Netflix also, we sent it a lot of celebrities. But I think if 1 out of 20 also put it up, your job is done.
Absolutely.
Right? So
makes sense. Considered quitting during a tough phase.
During the tough phase. So I think it happens with everybody. I think it
feeling
comes.
आती है, फिर वो अपने आप चली जाती है.
आती है कि यार क्या कर रहे हो, क्यों कर रहे हो, क्यों इतनी वाट लगवा रहे हो अपनी. You can live a peaceful life somewhere.
Yes.
Enjoy your life. So it comes, I think, with everybody.
Yeah.
But I think you wake up in the morning and you're back to normal. I think so. I think it comes with some disappointment. Something somewhere happens. But I think it just comes momently. I think it never comes for a week or a day or something. I think it's only hours.
Yes.
That feeling comes and then goes away.
That's when you know you're doing the right thing, because when you sleep over it, it dies away.
Correct.
So, yeah.
One channel is doing well, but other channel is not doing well, and then you realize कि growth तो हो ही नहीं रही है. So I think those things keeps happening, and then you say कि you can make much more money just doing a normal job somewhere else. But I think then you sleep over it and then you get fine.
I think being an entrepreneur is not easy. अभी हम entrepreneur era में हैं. सब लोग they talk all great things about being an entrepreneur. They glorify it. It has a lot of highs, but then the lows are as low as the highs.
But I think that's always there, right? I think the only thing which has changed is the glorification.
Yeah.
So I think entrepreneurship has always been there. I think it just got a name now.
Correct. It was more quiet and more like a course of life. Now it's become
like there are 90 people who are doing service, same standard thing. There are 10 people who are standing out. Let's just glorify them.
I think it's very important to understand as a person if you're cut out for it or not. To an extent, do you think so?
I've seen people who've been working in corporate for 15, 20 years and find it very difficult to understand this side of the things, right? I also phased out, 5 years after my master's, right? So I think reasonable phase, right? maybe if I've taken another 5 years, maybe I would not be able to do what I'm doing today. Some people are able to adapt, some people are not able to adapt. So it's a very personal, I would say.
Makes sense.
Earlier you start is better for you.
Yeah.
Right?
I learned everything on job, and I feel the amount I learned, no degree in the world, no university in the world can possibly help us go through those real life
No,
experiences.
I've told, I used to tell my Deloitte manager, कि sir, अगर मैं वापस Deloitte में आ गया तो I can handle 5 projects now. Earlier you were just giving me 1 project, now I can handle 5 projects because that's how you managing things here, right? Right? कि वहाँ तो life कितनी easy थी, normal काम हो रहा था. But यहाँ तो you're doing everything.
Yeah, and also when you have skin in the game, every minute, every decision that you're taking is very important for a founder. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Let's see our next one. Thought of expanding beyond popcorns into something completely unrelated.
I think non-food is not something we're looking at. Snacking, like we're not even thinking of going to beverage as a category. I think we'll stick around to food for now. But yes, I think.
Yeah. Regretted saying no to a major collaboration deal?
Not really. I think we look forward to all the collaborations. So I think we don't say no much unless we don't see as a big consumer value add to it. But I think we not say no. I think we are happy to do collaboration as much as we can, even if it's a smaller brand, large brand, doesn't matter. Yeah. Right. I think we haven't said no to answer your question to any collaboration. I think we're happy to do anything more.
Yeah. Great. I think this has been so very insightful, sir. A lot of things that I've learned, a lot of very engaging discussions. I hope that our audience is also able to, draw the takeaways from it that we hope that it would. It was our first episode at Let's Talk with Shubhagata. And I think if the first episode has, picked up this way, I think the conversation went so well and there were so many things that we could take away from it. I'm really hopeful for the upcoming episodes as well.
Best of luck.
And thank you so much. And truly means a lot to, because I can understand a lot of questions around the fact that, okay, somebody's starting out. It's very few people, sir, who've made it to where you have, who are willing to give people who are starting out a chance.
It's good to always reach out and try your luck. We also do this every day.
Correct.
You reach out to me, I reach out to 10 more clients like me for our business. One of them responds and that's how it works.
Correct, absolutely.
So keep trying, and I think everyone has to start from somewhere.
Correct.
So that's a good start for you.
So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
This is a token from Artemedy and Self-Love Jewelry. Hope you enjoy it. This was a very special episode. They say that firsts are always special, and it was all the more special because we had Mr. Chirag Gupta with us. There was so much that we could learn from him, from his experiences. They say that the journey of entrepreneurship is pretty much infinite. There is a very long road that we must walk. But when we learn from the veterans themselves who've already reached a certain pinnacle of success and continue to grow, there are a lot of mistakes that we can avoid making in our own journey of entrepreneurship. I hope that this was an insightful session for all of you. Stay tuned and stay hungry because at Let's Talk Biz with Shubhagata, we take you on a journey from vision to victory.